Brothers and sisters are natural enemies, like Englishmen and Scots, or Welshmen and Scots, or Japanese and Scots, or Scots and other Scots. Damn Scots! They ruined Scotland!
You Scots sure are a contentious people.
You just made an enemy for life!
Dwarfs do not forget wrongs, slights, or insults. But what about dwarfs as a race is so fundamentally different from men that makes them hell-bent on vengeance and retribution? That's the question we will answer today. If you end up enjoying the video, hit the like and subscribe buttons. It's free and it helps me out. Dwarfs as a race are much older than mankind, having been created thousands of years ago by the Old Ones, spacefaring beings of incredible power. The beginnings of the dwarf race is largely mysterious both from an in-universe perspective and to us as fans of the Warhammer fantasy world. The first generation of dwarfs, known as the ancestor gods, were supposedly carved from the rock of the mountains themselves. Birthed by stone, as they call it. There may be some truth to this, but we can't know with certainty. What we do know for sure is that they were created after the Old Ones had made the elves, and were opposites of the elves on the magical spectrum. Elves being great and natural wizards, and dwarfs being unable to channel the winds of magic, but greatly resistant to its effects. These inexplicable traits related to magic had great advantages, but also created unintended racial qualities that led to them being seen as unsuitable servants by the Old Ones. While they had incredible endurance, superhuman strength, and great strength of will, they were also obstinate and too slow progressing to match with the Old Ones' purposes. It was at that point that the dwarfs were abandoned by the Old Ones in favor of pursuing new creations which might produce better results. Humanity were their next project and seemed to fit in the middle between elves and dwarfs biologically. The first point to discussing the nature of dwarf grudges is their fierce determination and tenacity. Dwarfs as a race are the greatest craftsmen of the Warhammer world. Everything they build is meant to stand the test of time, not just because they live so long, but also because tradition demands it. Dwarfs are exacting when it comes to engineering, crafting items, and architecture, so that anything made by their hands is as eternal as the mountains. In fact, their term for the dwarf civilization, the Karazankor, literally means everlasting realm. The second factor to understanding why dwarfs keep and avenge grudges is that biologically as a race, they have a perfect memory. They remember everything that happens to them with exact detail and are unable to forget. A quote from the Gotrek and Felix novels summarizes this quite nicely. Gotrek, like all dwarfs, constantly brooded over the lessons of the past. His sense of history drove him inexorably towards his future. He claimed that men had imperfect memories, that dwarfs were better. Felix pondered what it must be like to live with the past intruding so strongly into the present that it could never be forgotten. I would go mad, he decided. Beyond their mental memory, everything a dwarf does is measured, written down, and recorded. They are meticulous history keepers. Even their earliest histories are recorded in a giant tome called the Great Book of Grudges, which dates back to the time of the ancestor gods. Grudges are a shared ancestral memory, and no grudge is ever forgotten though 1,000 years might pass away. The descendants of those wronged will remember and exact vengeance. The third and perhaps most enlightening explanation for dwarf grudges is that there is no word for forgiveness or mercy in their language. Honor is all to a dwarf. Any promise must be honored, any wrong set right, and every debt of violence repaid in blood. Grudge bearing is so ingrained into their psyche that it permeates every aspect of their culture. So the answer as to why dwarfs hold grudges is because it's who they are biologically, culturally, and psychologically on a foundational and existential level. They are physically incapable of letting things go unresolved. Well, that wraps up today's video. Check out my other videos here on YouTube or watch me on Twitch for more lore-based Warhammer content. I'm Fohammer, and have a great day.